Hey guys, and welcome to Two Aspies Points of View, where we give you our opinion on stuff. I'm Robin, and this is Matt, my boyfriend.
Hello.
And we wanted to give you our points of view on the new Star Wars movie. So we just finished watching it. Literally 2 minutes ago, we got into the car, and we wanted to give you our complete unedited version of what we just saw. So, here we go.
Yep. So, I went into this with, admittedly, I was kind of going into it like, I'm not too sure about it, because I'd heard a lot about, I haven't read any reviews on it, but just the titles of some of the ones that I've just skimmed through was, I came into it with kind of meh expectations, but still, it was very well worth. The first little bit, I admit, like the first quarter or the first half, I was kind of hit or miss with it. But later on in the film, we were both at the edge of our seats.
Yes, and I will say right quick, there are spoilers ahead. So if you have not watched it yet, please click this video off. Go see the movie first and then come back and watch this video. I don't want to spoil anyone. So, very similar to Matt, I did not watch any spoilers either, including, I did not even watch trailers. So I had no clue what this was going to be going into it. Obviously, watched all the Star Wars movies a bunch of times, but did not want to be spoiled at all. Again, just like Matt, first half of the movie, I was kind of like, this is dragging a little bit. Some parts were great, some parts were kind of, And then the second half of the movie, I was sat up on the edge of my seat. In fact, Matt laughed at me at one point because I bolted up in my seat and was kind of like...
Because, like I said, after the second half, it really picked up. And all I will say is, after a certain someone shows up,
yes.
We're both like, oh, crap. It was awesome.
Yes, one of my personal favorite characters made a cameo, and a character who, when he dies in a previous video, I yell, Yoda! Came back, and I was very, very, very happy to see him, even if he was a phantasm, if you will. And there were definitely some interesting things. I will say, though, Matt, and I don't know if you would agree with me, the scene where Finn and the female love interest were riding out of the prison on the animal.
Yep.
Did that feel like a mix of Harry Potter and Jurassic Park to you? Because it certainly didn't feel like Star Wars to me.
Nah, it didn't. That was a little weird, to be honest.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was still really good, don't get me wrong, but it just felt like they just put it in there. They're like, hey, we can put a cool little chase sequence, whatever you want to call it, in there. But for it seeming like that, it was still really good.
Yeah, it definitely did not feel like Star Wars. It felt like it was Harry Potter mixed with Jurassic Park almost. It was definitely un-Star Wars like. And I will say there were a couple times in the movie, knowing what I know about the cast, knowing that Carrie Fisher, unfortunately, had passed away.
And since you brought that up, they do, for those wondering, they do, how do you say it?
Dedicate the film to her, which was wonderful.
Yeah.
But knowing that she had passed, at one point in the movie, she goes into a coma, and I almost wondered if she was going to slip into that coma and if they had rewritten the ending and not woken up, only because I knew it had gone through so many directorial changes and they had done so many rewrites. I was like, oh my God, did they do a rewrite where she was written out of the whole second half of the movie? And I was so pleased to find that, in fact, they hadn't, and, she did come out of her coma and everything was okay. But... there was definitely a thought going through my mind. Did they even, at one point in the movie, I was like, it seemed like everything was going to tie up into a nice little bow. I was like, are they even going to do a third movie, Like, Or is it just going to end when the Supreme Leader gets killed? I was like, are they just going to turn Kylo Ren good, and is it going to end with a happy little ending, and is this going to be the end of this storyline, you know?
Yeah, because Kylo Ren's character is constantly going back and forth throughout the entirety of the movie.
Yeah. And I will say, and I leaned over to you during the movie and I said, you know, I almost wondered, in the first movie I was wondering if Kylo Ren and Rey were brother and sister, and she had been sent away like for her protection when he started to show signs of being from the dark side. And then in this movie, when he says he found out who her parents were, I said again, I wondered if they were brother and sister. I almost feel like they should have gone with that storyline, because I feel like it would have been a better storyline than just they were dirt and they were trashers and they left her behind for no good reason.
Yeah, but that would have, I don't know, I think the reason they didn't go with that is because after so many people threw crap at the Force Awakens for being too similar to A New Hope,
yeah,
they may have seen that and be like, oh, if I put that in there, they're going to compare it to Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, I get that. But I really wanted that storyline. I wanted another set of twins. I really did.
Right.
You know, and I felt like because Luke's lightsaber called to her, I felt like it should have happened. You know, it should have been, you know, her father's, or not her father's, her uncle's saber called to her, you know?
Right. And since we brought it up, Luke.
Mm-hmm.
I was very careful going into this movie about Luke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I only saw like one trailer out of the 9 that they put out, and I did not like the way they made Luke look in that trailer. Because, to be perfectly honest, it made him look like a coward. But
I think he still was. I'm going to be perfectly honest. And the reason I think he still was is because he never actually showed up to face Kylo Ren. He faced Kylo Ren as a hologram, basically. He used the Force. He did not show up as himself in person. And I feel like, I don't care how you put it, he didn't show his face. And I know he was dying or whatever, because at the end they were like, you know, I felt it. He's passed, whatever. And it was a very fitting way for him to go. And I know that he couldn't have done what he did if he was really there in person, because the guns would have immediately killed him. But
still,
he was a coward.
Doesn't take away from the fact that scene
was amazing.
Awesome. He just walked out of the crowd. He's just like, man, please.
It was amazing.
Get that crap off me.
It was amazing. But I mean, he was a coward. He did not show up. Everyone else was really there risking their lives, and he was sitting on top of a rock like this. You know, I mean, come on now.
But I mean, still, to be only sitting there floating above a rock doing that and still being able to do what he did. Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying, but I do understand from the perspective, the trailer made him look like a coward because he was in some ways a coward. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, and they kind of go into detail throughout, like, around the midpoint of the movie as to why he went to that island, why he doesn't try to do anything to help. And you kind of, because you get like 3 or 4 different versions of it throughout the film.
Of Kylo Ren's backstory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get, because you get the version that, Rey believes is truth, then you get the version that Kylo Ren thinks is truth, and then you get the version
that actually happened. Yeah, I mean, overall, I think it was a fantastic movie. I think there were definitely parts that were slow. There were parts that were kind of weird. There were parts that were fan service. I think Yoda coming back in general was fan service, because in reality, it was, I think, a hallucination on Luke's part. I don't think that the ghost actually appeared. Well, it's possible. It's possible. It's possible. Anything's possible.
Considering what happened when he showed up, I kind of thinking it was actually a ghost.
It could have been just lightning strike. It's possible that it was a ghost. It's possible that it was a hallucination. Anything's possible.
Right.
But I mean, the fact that Yoda showed up made my life complete because I wanted to see Yoda again.
Right.
But you know, there was just so much that happened in this movie that was so perfect that, you know, it's so funny because I saw a scale online the other day that said love, hate, and the rest was just empty. And
Yeah.
It's so funny because, and I always relate things on this channel back to Asperger's, because Asperger's is black and white and there is no gray. And with this movie, there is no gray. You either loved this movie or you hated this movie. And I think I can easily say we both loved this movie.
Mm-hmm. Definitely worth going to see.
Definitely worth it. Absolutely. It was phenomenal. And I think we'll definitely both go see it again at least once.
At least.
And we'll probably buy it and have it in our collection for a long, long time.
Very long time.
Well, this has been an Aspie's point of view. Please leave your comments down below if you see it. Write what you loved about it, what you hated about it, what you thought about that weird scene with them riding out on the back of that animal's back. And wish Matt a happy birthday down below because it is his birthday today. Leave us a thumbs up for his birthday as well. And we'll see you in our next video. Until next time, this has been 2 Aspie's Points of View. Bye.
Later.